Hey gamers, this is Maniac with GameAccess.net bringing you the very next, this is the top 5 of Alan Wake cutscenes. After all the comments that I've gotten from the Halo top 10 video I did in the supplement following that, I gotta say that I really appreciate all the comments everybody's been giving, all the traffic that my site's been getting because of the video that I did. So I thought, let's do it again, and what better game to do it for than Alan Wake, the game I've been playing practically all summer. And actually was my first 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score. And let me tell you, this game is good, and it's got a great story, and it's got some great cutscenes to it. So this was my immediate next. There was no discussion which game I was going to do next for a top cutscenes list. That having been said, this is going to be a top 5. There are not as many cutscenes, and they're not as long as in Halo. They kept them short and to the point, but that having been said, even though they're short and to the point, they're good. They're really good. So there are a few rules that are going to be done very similar to the last list of what actually came through my mind when I was tallying these up. Story, music, setting, quotable dialogue is back, and so all of that is basically going to be brought up with. That's what I scored them on. And let me tell you, to pick 5 was very tough, and there were a lot of high contenders, and there were a lot of ones that just kind of got dropped off the list. And from what I've heard, because I'm a one-man operation, I think that some of you might agree, some of you might disagree with me, but this was based upon those merits and just what those cutscenes meant to me personally. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the top 5 Alan Wake cutscenes. And we're at number 5. And let me tell you, for number 5, this was a really good one. And there were plenty of options. There were plenty of options for it, but it had to come down to this, and that is the opening to Bright Falls in Chapter 1 of Alan Wake. And the reason why I chose this was because it's kind of a two-part. It's kind of a two-part cinematic. It kind of works as a the ending. It's the ending of the dream sequence in the very beginning of the tutorial, and it also serves as the status for to setting, to provide the setting for the rest of the game to show the player where they are, what's going on. And I really enjoyed both because everybody who's been following Alan Wake since the beginning of development knew how important that lighthouse was. And so not only does it resolve that, that's the lighthouse moment, but after that you get to see Bright Falls for the first time. You get to see Alice for the first time. It does such a great job establishing the setting, and just that opening orchestral music is just so good. It really just provided a great establishment of setting, and it's certainly, for me, like the only other game I can possibly think of that did such a good job for establishment of setting, which is completely different, was probably the Half-Life 2's. When you first see City 17 for the first time, you see how big it is and how impressed it is. But this is completely different because this actually got to see, because it's not fixed to a first-person perspective or to a third-person perspective, because they did a cutscene, they chose to establish it with a cutscene, which I think was a really good decision. You get to see so much more. So it's a great scene. Check it out.
Shh, baby. Just another nightmare. Everything's fine. You dozed off.
Right. Anything more than dozed off would be news for everyone.
Cheer up, handsome. We're here.
And number 4. And number 4 is Barry Wheeler's Introduction, Chapter 2. And there's a very, very good reason why I chose to do this. Barry is awesome. But it's not just for that. We get to see, not only do we just get to see Barry for the first time, but we actually get to see just how realistic this game is. When it's a scene where Alan is also introduced to Dr. Hartman for the first time, and after subsequently finding out that Dr. Hartman had convinced his wife to bring herself and him to Bright Falls in the first place, immediately punched Dr. Hartman in the face. This was a fantastic scene, not only just to set Barry up, but also to set up Alan, and to show that he has a temper, but also for the factor that that's a realistic reaction. That's what a real person would do. I've watched, I can't tell you how many movies I've watched where most people would act like complete and total wimps when in reality it just wouldn't happen. And it's ruined almost all, I can't even watch horror films or most horror films because of that. Because people don't actually act like people in them. They act like, you know, people that think, oh, we run and we'll flee and we'll get away. And in actuality, no, you don't run away. He'll just, you know, run you down when you get tired and, you know, chop your head off. You stand your ground and you fight. Preferably you fight when they're not looking, broadside them or something like that, but you stay and fight and you have a chance. And in this case, Alan punched the bad guy. Bingo. That immediately brought up points with me. That having been said, Barry, let's talk about Barry a little bit. Barry is the quintessential comic relief, but also Barry works more than just that. He actually is a capable comic relief. Most of the time comic reliefs, you have to keep them alive because they're so incompetent. And this guy, he kind of fumbles his way into just great situations that just make it capable for him to be heroic. And that's one of them. He finds it. He comes in at the exact moment when you're like, I need an exit, and he's like, yeah, Barry Wheeler, his agent. He's coming with me. You touch my client, you'll be dealing with my lawyers. And he just provides it. He's just a great character. So that's why it's number 4.
Are you feeling any better, Mr. Wake?
I'd like to leave. Am I free to go?
Well, we still need to talk about...
Am I under arrest?
No, of course not. But I need to know where you'll be staying so I can get in touch with you.
I'd avoid the motel. The Majestic is known for its roaches. The cabins at Elderwood are pretty nice, though.
That sounds perfect.
I'm Dr. Emil Hartman. I'd like to invite you to stay at Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Did you talk to my wife?
I had the pleasure of discussing your situation with her on several occasions.
Did you set something up with her?
I invited her here. My clinic is a place where...
Oh,
Hey!
oh my!
Take it easy.
Hey, nobody move! Get your hands off of my client!
Who are you?
I'm Barry Wheeler, his agent. If you have business with Mr. Wake, you talk to me. You yokels won't know what hit you once I sick my lawyers on your asses.
No harm done, Sarah. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges. Mr. Wake, my offer still stands.
Get me out of here.
What the hell was that about, Al? We don't need a replay of that thing with the paparazzi. I thought they were gonna lock you up.
I had to talk to someone. I told Barry everything. He thought I was certifiable, but when he heard about the manuscript, I had him. The fact that I'd written something, even if I couldn't remember it, was enough for him. He smelled money. And he believed that Alice had been kidnapped. Anything beyond that was another story. I had a midnight appointment with the kidnapper in a place called Lover's Peak, somewhere in Elderwood National Park. The plan was to rent a cabin.
I don't like it, Al. I don't like any of it. It's not good. In fact, it's the absolute opposite of good.
Mr. Wake! Barry, you found him!
Hi, Rose.
Oh, wow, I was just thinking about you, too.
Great.
I was just bringing Rusty some coffee. He's on the balcony, looking after Max. Poor thing. I really need to go. Great to see you again, Mr. Wake. Later!
Who's Max?
And this is number 3, and number 3 is 2 characters drinking coffee from chapter 3. And it sounds a little bit simpler than it actually is. I'm kind of being funny about it, but it's the scene where Rose gives Barry and Alan coffee, and they subsequently pass out. And when they wake up, it's nighttime, and Alan had a nightmare. This is a great scene because I really do like these characters. Not just Barry and Alan, but I also liked Rose a lot as a character. And it's unfortunate that she didn't really get to see much action after that scene. But she did actually get, before that scene, she actually did have a lot of cool scenes. That just came to be like her last major scene in the game. But it was really such a great scene because of you felt the tension in the scene. The tension was important because not only did you cared about these characters. The game had the game was so well establishing the characters that you actually felt so well for them, so much for them. Even Rose, who was being controlled by the Dark Presence, who was taking the form of Barbara Jagger, she was controlling Rose, and because of that, she had could she have done permanent damage to Rose? Could Rose have been could Rose have serious problems after that? Is that just sleeping pills for Barry and Alan, or did she give him cyanide capsules for all we know? We don't know. We didn't know, so it was a really, really tense scene, and because of that, that's why it's number 3, because this tension was just so great for the sequence. It's also cool to see the inside of the trailer park, the inside of her trailer, and all the Alan Wake memorabilia that she has in her bedroom. And I'm thinking, that's borderline creepy, but not really. And also, I just really like coffee. That's why it's number 3.
Hey, this is really good. Rose,
Yes,
my manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry? She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al? Al, what's... Oh...
Barry! What? What?
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on. And I'll